Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of The Fad Show. So in today's episode, I'm going to do something that I've been putting off for too long. I'm going to give a 2-year review and update of my Mark 7.5 Golf Alltrack SEL 6-speed manual. I will admit I'm a little delayed doing this, and it's actually like the 2.5 month review. This coming July is actually going to be the 3-year point with this car. But the short review is I absolutely love this car. It might be one of my favorites that I've ever had, and it's actually coming this July too going to be the car that I've kept the longest. The only car other than this that I've kept this long was my E92 BMW 335i. And admittedly, the only reason I kept that car so long, although I did like it, was I was kind of a little bit, or I had negative equity in the car. But since I reached the point in my life where I could actually afford to cycle through cars on the regular, this one is definitely leading the pack as far as the length of time that I've kept it. So on this review, I'm going to talk about what I've done with the car so far as where I've taken it, trips that I've used it on, what mods and mechanical maintenance items and issues that I've had to do. I mean, another short answer, there's been nothing that's gone wrong on it so far. I'll give the 5 things that I dislike most about the car, the 5 things I like most about the car. I'll talk about the driving dynamics of the car. I'll talk about things that I want to do moving forward with it. And I was originally planning on doing this video while I was taking the car on a recent road trip to Taos, New Mexico. Fortunately, the West Texas wind that's like a constant 25, 30 miles an hour just made the audio quality terrible while I was in the car. So I figured I would just film it here in the garage for better audio quality, and I'll be sure to put in plenty of clips to try and keep it entertaining. I do find it slightly ironic that I was planning to do my 2.5 year review of this car while I took it to Taos, New Mexico, which is actually the name that named the crossover SUV that replaced this. I mean, I guess it wasn't a direct replacement. This ended production in 2019, and then I'm not sure if it was 2020 or 2021 that the VW Taos came along. Very unfortunately, wagons are all getting killed by crossovers, but I digress. And with that, stay tuned and let's get to the review. So like I said, I've had the car for about 2.5 years now. I put just over 37,000 miles on it. And when I first got the car, I used it mostly exclusively for taking on road trips. I still had my mic for TDI at the time, so I was using that to do my commuting duties. Probably for the past 6 or so months, I've been using it pretty much as a daily driver every day since I sold my Mark IV TDI. I've kind of been changing out with this and my EP3 Civic Si for daily driver duties. And yeah, like I said, it's been, I've absolutely loved every second I've had with this car. When I was using it, I've used it for road trips all over. The car has been to Arizona multiple times. It's been to Sedona for a mountain biking trip. It's been to Tucson for a road biking trip. I went hiking also with it in Sedona. It's been to the Grand Canyon. It's been to Zion National Park. It's been to Salt Lake City skiing. It's been pretty much all over Utah. In between southern and northern Utah. I've taken it to Colorado a few times to go skiing. So yeah, I think this car, if I could pick one thing that it was best at, it's definitely really well suited for taking on road trips. Just the fact that it's a wagon and you can fit all your stuff on it and you can put your bikes on the roof like I have, but it also just kind of soaks up the miles with the modern tech features and just like a comfortable modern car. And then I also like the fact that it's a 6-speed manual, so when you do find yourself on a twisty road, it's pretty fun to drive. And then being the Alltrack and having a little bit of off-road capability is nice too when you get to ride it out forest roads. You can see how disgustingly dirty the car is right now. That's because when I took it to Taos, we were staying on a dirt forest road that was actually place we stayed at was at 10,000 feet and the road was all icy and covered in snow, and the car did great getting us up there. And then when I came back from the trip, it was the kind of yearly Texas ice storm, so that's why the car is so dirty. So like I said, since I've had the car, I've had absolutely nothing go wrong with it. Knock on wood, cross my fingers. I did end up taking it to the dealer one time because the KESI, like remoteless key module, wasn't working, or that's what I thought. Turns out both my key fob batteries died at the same time, so I felt pretty stupid about that one. But yeah, so far it's just been normal maintenance. I've been doing pretty much everything myself. The factory oil change interview is 10,000 miles, but I've been doing 5,000 mile interviews, just buying liquid moly oil change kits from FCP Euro. I've done the Haldex service myself. I've changed the spark plugs. I think that's pretty much it. The only upgrades that I've made to the car, if you've been following my videos, I installed the APR turbo inlet pipe, APR PEX open air intake. I installed the 034 or 034 Motorsports, just kind of a whatever tubing that goes between the turbo inlet pipe and the air box or open air box. Sorry, it was like silicone tubing. I don't know what the actual part is called. And then if you watched my video recently, I took the car to get an APR Stage 1 87 octane tune, which boosted the power from stock at 168 up to 234 horsepower. And that definitely has completely transformed the car. I know everyone always says it when they do review of tones that this is the way it should have been from the factory, but that's kind of exactly how I feel about this. I do understand why they do it. Volkswagen has to be able to sell the GTI, so I kind of get why they do it, but definitely changed the car very much so in a good way. It's also greatly improved my fuel economy. Today, I actually just took this car from here in Fort Worth down to Austin, Texas and back. I was looking at a car that I didn't buy. I've actually had self-control for once. But anyways, that whole trip was about almost 380-ish miles and did it all in one tank. I just filled up pretty much just right outside my neighborhood, and I averaged 31.4 miles per gallon, which is pretty good. Another benefit of taking this on a road trip is the fact that it runs on regular fuel. And when I did the APR tune, I made sure to do the 87 octane tune, just because when you're using it for commuting and going on road trips, I mean, most of the time I'm not really using the tune, so I just assume have the cheaper gas. So that covers my ownership experience for the most part so far. Now let's go ahead and talk about the 5 things that I dislike most about the car. I will admit that all these things are extremely nitpicky. For the most part, it's been, like I said, it's been a real joy owning this car. Number 5 thing that I don't really like this car. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the body cladding. I kind of wish that you could have just got the all-wheel drive Golf Sport Wagon in the SEL manual trim, but unfortunately the only way to get the SEL manual trim was to get the Alltrack itself, which I do like. I like having a little bit more ground clearance, like I said, for when you go like on a forest road or something. Obviously, I don't think that the off-road capability of this car is, I mean, it's not super capable or anything, so I don't think I would take it on anything more than a rutted forest road, but it's nice to have that flexibility when you get there, but then still being able to have fun on a twisty road. So for me, I'm not a huge fan of the body cladding. I kind of wish you could have got it without it, or they painted it body color, but whatever. On a black car like I have, it's not so noticeable, but on some of the other colors, it really sticks out. So the number 4 thing that I dislike about the car is also extremely nitpicky. It's the fact that when you put the car in reverse, you get the backup camera that comes up, but you don't get the parking sensors at the same time. You have to hit another button to get the parking sensors to also show up and be overlaid over the backup camera. Coming from having a BMW 328D before this, when you put it in reverse, you got the parking sensors and the backup camera. I don't know, like when I'm parallel parking or parking on the street, I kind of like having the parking sensors so you can put the car like perfectly in the middle to minimize your chances of getting your bumper scraped when someone else pulls in or out. Again, I know that's pretty nitpicky, and I think you can even change that in VAGCOM or OBD11. The number 3 thing I dislike about the car is the auto high beams. I just wish it had normal, like, do it yourself. You can do it yourself, but you have to like cycle through the auto, and it's just weird. It's really hard to do it automatic or do it manually, and the auto ones just have a like complete mind of their own. They constantly flash people, they constantly turn off for no reason. I just can't stand it, and I wish there was a good way to just completely remove the feature from the vehicle. Number 2 would be the automatic climate control. It's just, in my experience, doesn't work very well. Like today I drove the car down Austin and back, and it was pretty much consistently 64 to 66 degrees the entire time, and I had to change the temperature as low as 68 up to 78 just to be comfortable. I don't understand. I had like a 2000 Volvo where I just set it to 70 degrees and put it in auto and never touched it. I kind of wish that this was the same way if you're going to offer that feature. Again, super nitpicky, wouldn't stop me from buying the car. You just have to adjust it more. And the number one thing that I dislike about this car that I think was a huge overlook by Volkswagen is the fact that this is a $36,000 car and it doesn't have memory seats. I hate it. Like, I hate when you go on a road trip and someone else is taking a turn driving and then you have to find the spot again where you like it. I wish it just had memory seats. I don't understand why they didn't do it for $36,000. But whatever. Again, wouldn't stop me from buying the car. It's just slightly annoying. So now I'll talk about the 5 things that I like most about the car. Number 5 would be the Fender audio system in this car. I've had multiple kind of high-end audio systems in my cars. My Porsches have had Bose, my BMWs have had Harman Kardon, and this Volkswagen, which is I guess supposed to be a lower end car, has had the best of all of them. I absolutely love this Fender audio system in this car. It's so clear and still has a lot of power, and yeah, it's awesome. I love listening to my music and my podcasts and everything when I'm commuting and on road trips. So yeah, good job on the Fender audio by Volkswagen. Definitely really happy with it. My number 4th favorite thing about this car would be the ride height, but still having engaging driving dynamics. So I like obviously doing a lot of adventuring, kind of as you've gathered from what I've said so far in this review, and I like being able to go on like a rutted out forest road and not worry about scraping your lip or damaging the underside of the car. But I also like when you get on a canyon or twisty mountain road, being able to drive spiritedly, and this car definitely combines both of those things. Probably the best that you could possibly do it, in my opinion. So number 3 is something I think I've mentioned a few times when I've made videos on this car, but I really like the fact that you can get modern tech and still have a manual transmission. Like when you're going on a long road trip, having the adaptive cruise control and the lane keeping assist, but still having a manual transmission for when you get to the fun driving roads. I think it's just awesome that VW offered this car for 1 year with those features. I don't think it's the only one that has that. I think BMWs, maybe some Toyotas have manuals that still allow you to get those features, but it's definitely a plus for me. The number 2 thing I like about this car is just the fact that it's based on the MQB platform, which I kind of consider to be MQB Legos. The fact that you can pretty much mix and match the parts and make this whatever you want. You can put Golf R springs on it and lower it if you want. You can put Alltrack struts, or not Alltrack, you can put Atlas, that's the word I was looking for. Atlas struts on it and raise it up if you want to. If you want to upgrade the brakes, you can put GTI brakes on it. If you even want to go one step above that, you can put base Macan Brembo brakes on it, which is probably what I'm going to do when mine finally wear out. If you want more power, you can do an IS-20 turbo from a GTI, which I actually have sitting on a shelf over there. You can do an IS-38 turbo from a Golf R if you really want more power. It's just kind of cool having that flexibility to basically mix and match and make the car exactly how you want. And I think hopefully going forward, the fact that all these parts were shared across all the platforms will kind of keep the cost down when it comes time to start replacing some of this stuff. And my number 1 thing that I absolutely love this car, which I've probably mentioned already and everything else that I've said about it, is just the fact that they offered it. That in 2019, Volkswagen offered a manual all-wheel drive wagon. I mean, that's why I bought one. I didn't need one at the time, or I didn't need a car at the time, but just the fact that they were making it, I had to jump on it, especially for 2019, the last year and the only year that they made the SEL trim in a manual. The last, what I think will ever be manual transmission wagon. Sadly, I hope I'm wrong, but for right now, I don't know, there's not much hope to prove me otherwise. The only other, or the last cars before this that also offered a manual in a wagon were the 2014 Subaru Outback, and then going back to 2012 with the BMW E91 328i. But I did film a driving sequence when I was in New Mexico on a canyon road, but again, the auto quality was pretty terrible, so I think I'll just talk about it here and put clips in. But overall, I've kind of already mentioned it. I mean, it's not an M3, and it's not a Porsche Cayman, it's not even a GTI, but it's a really fun car to drive on a mountain road and still have the wagon practicality, still having a slightly raised ride height and all-wheel drive. I mean, I've driven a Mark 7 GTI, I've driven a Mark 7 Golf R, and they do have a level of handling that is a little bit above this. But I think a lot of it, for me, just comes down to the shorter wheelbase. Like those cars, they just seem to rotate faster than this. And I think probably most of it is just based on the shorter wheelbase, because this car really doesn't have much body roll even on the stock suspension. So for me, it's definitely really fun when you find yourself on a canyon road. I mean, pretty much any car that has a little bit of positive driving dynamics and a 6-speed manual is fun to me. So just the fact you get to row your own gears, and since I got the stage 1 tune, I felt like it has adequate power when, you know, there's 2 slow cars ahead of you on a canyon road. When you get to a passing zone, you can pass them. Or if you're trying to pass someone on the highway, you can put your foot down and pass them. You can't really do that without downshifting with the stock software, but with the APR Stage 1, that is a little bit more possible. So overall, I think as far as the driving dynamics go, for me, it's like the perfect combination of having a little bit of off-road prowess and then still being able to have fun when you find yourself on a mountain road. Some of the competition for this car, like the Subaru Outback, Subaru Crosstrek. I come from a family of Subaru owners back in New England, and I've driven both of those cars, and for me this is just like night and day above those. The Subarus, to me, they just lean over and just provide no feedback whatsoever, where this like actually has a little bit of steering, even though it's electric, does give you a little bit of steering feel, and it just stays planted through the corner. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of the driving dynamics. If you have any questions, please ask and I'll put them in the comments below. So what are my plans going forward with the car? Well, I think I mentioned before, I do have an IS-20 Turbo sitting on a shelf over there that I bought off of Facebook Marketplace. That was a really good deal. It was a used turbo with like 10,000 miles on it. So I might put that in. I'm not 100% convinced on it yet. I'm actually like, for me, I feel like the APR Stage 1 is everything you need. I think I'll link it above, but you can go watch my tune video, my APR Stage 1 tune video. I think like there's a little bit of kind of like down low grunt that's missing with this IS-12 turbo, but when you get it up in the red range, it definitely pulls hard. I love this tune that I have on this car because now I can pass 2 cars that are going slow. It's spoiling my fun. That's probably just like it is. So I don't really feel like I need the IS-20 power, but since it's there and possible, I kind of want to do it. The point I made in my tune video was just the like increased cost of doing IS-20, especially on my car being a manual. So in order to support that IS-20, I need a new intercooler and downpipe, or you don't need a downpipe, but I would probably do a downpipe. So intercooler, downpipe, and since mine is a manual, I'm guessing that power is definitely going to cause the stock clutch to slip. I'm also going to have to get an upgraded clutch. So that's a big investment for, I don't know, I'll let you decide if it's a significant or insignificant amount of horsepower, because the APR Stage 3 IS-20 87 octane tune with a downpipe is 284, and this is 234 now. So it's about, I did the math, like $2,500 to get 50 horsepower. It's a lot, but I might do it. But I'm not gonna do it right away. So I'll have some time to experience it like this and then decide what I wanna do there. And then for the longest time, I've been debating whether I wanna raise the car up or I wanna drop it down. And I think I've decided I'm just gonna do nothing. I like the stock suspension. I like having a little bit of capability as far as going on a rutted out forest road, and I also like to enjoy a mountain road. So if you raise it up, most people put all-terrain tires on it, which are probably gonna ride like shit for daily driving and for spirited driving situations. So I don't wanna do that, and then I also don't wanna slam it and then kind of take away the ability to go down forest road or rutted out trailhead or something like that. So I think when the stock suspension wears out, I'm going to keep the stock springs and I'll just upgrade to like a Bilstein B4 strut. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I might do some other odds and ends. I've really been wanting to put like a short shifter and Black Forest Ministry shift knob on it. I will do that eventually, and I think I will upgrade the rear sway bar to try and get me a little bit more turn in. So I'll stay at the stock ride height, and then I'll just put like an H&R or Golf R rear sway bar. Again, I'm probably not going to rush to do that. And then I think I already mentioned it before, when the brakes were out, I think I'm planning on going with the Porsche Macan calibers in the front in red, and then I'll probably just paint the stock rear ones red to match it. And that's pretty much it. I'm just gonna keep daily driving the car and taking it on road trips and enjoying it. It's been great to me so far, and I really hope it stays that way because I definitely really enjoy the car, and I like the fact that I have one kind of modding car that doesn't keep me busy for hours doing maintenance on it. I'm sure that time will come for it, but I'm glad that it's not right now. So I hope this video was informative for everyone. I'm sure there's something that I missed or didn't cover that you might have a question on. Please comment below. Sometimes it takes me a few days with my work schedule, but I always try to answer all the questions and comments that you guys put in. So thank you very much for watching. And as always, if you really liked it, then please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the 3 or 4 year update or the next mod video on it. I'm not really sure when that's going to be. I do have some other projects that are probably going to come before this. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.